Hey Ivar, it's Jake from Wani. How you going?
Excellent, man.
So, how excited are you guys to come down to Australia?
Very excited. It's always been where we wanted to go, and we made it for the first time in 2013.
Yep.
So it's only the second time in 25 years that we're going to Australia. So we're really, really psyched to do that again, man.
Yeah, cool. So it's obviously a place that you guys have had on your radar for a while to get down to, and cracking through in 2013 was obviously a big step. But this is sort of the next progress for you guys.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Well, let's talk about the latest album that came out last year, via Nuclear Blast. It cracked charts almost everywhere, and you guys have been touring for a long time in support of that. How are those the tracks off the new album? How are they shaping up live?
They're doing really well. We've played by now. We've been been through them all. Not on the same tours, but we've changed it up a little bit on each tour leg, and they're all really great live songs, at least from our perspective. Obviously, we like the songs, but also it's very cool songs to play for us as a band. It really utilizes the dynamics of the band, and they're still, a year in having played them live, they're still a bit challenging to get them right every time, and I guess that's a good sign.
Yeah, I can imagine. And how's the fan reaction to those songs been? Like, are they loving them and going crazy live, or?
Absolutely. There's certain songs like Building with Fire that people sort of have a tendency to rock out to more, maybe. And Through Us Dreaming, the opening song, is also very, very sort of dominating, very sonic song. But when you do songs like In Times or Daylight, the two last ones, which is more introvert, I guess, there's action in the crowd, but you see a lot more faces, with dreamy expressions, or people simply listening to them, so it seems it would be a good album if we ever did that. Be a good album to play from beginning to end, I guess.
Yeah,
they
something
seem to be going of emotions in one album.
I guess something to look at in the future, maybe playing it from front to back.
Absolutely, maybe our 100th anniversary tour we can do that.
Yeah, 100th anniversary would be good to make it too.
Yeah, just like five caskets on stage.
Maybe one day. All right, so one important aspect that I feel about Enslaved's music, which puts you guys ahead of others, is how easily you can jump from your darker sections with your harsh vocals to some of the more atmospheric sections, and I guess some of the beautiful, softer sections that have the clean vocals going through them. There's more of everything. I guess I feel that there's more of everything in Enslaved songs. How do you implement these songwriting ideas for the different sections?
Yeah, exactly. That's the theory of what we're trying to do. It's definitely get more of everything. We try to. We keep working with sort of there's two moduses in Enslaved. Working there's sort of a circle that could symbolize the scope of Enslaved, where you could because it's definitely not square, because things are fuzzy, transitions. It's not always easy to say where things belong, and I would say that we've explored a different. We came from a background or the part of the circle where things are very heavily influenced by black metal and death metal, and then we sort of expanded it, and including some more progressive stuff, some more melodic and experimental and things like that. And I would say that the last period of Enslaved, maybe the last decade or at least 7-8 years, has been about trying to expand that circle, like you say, but in an equal, sort of with the equal amount of expansion all around. So it would be in the back of it, not a conscious thing. It sounds very mathematical and sort of, but it really isn't that technical. It's just like, I think that's how we react now. That if if a song or an album takes us in a certain direction, it's just this natural impulse to sort of expand and stretch in the opposite corner, so to speak.
Yeah.
To make sure that the whole circle is expanding. And sometimes, you know, we've been open about that. Like maybe an album like Wani mentioned back in 2001, you get a bit, you know, tunnel vision and you go too far in one end. I would say that at that time we got a bit like some kind of over fascination for the more melodic, progressive things, and sort of forgot a little bit about the death metal or the black metal sort of side of things. But that evens out with the albums that comes after it, so to speak. So it's I guess we just get better at that balance and letting ourselves react naturally to our own development, in a sense.
Yeah, and I guess, as you mentioned there with the 2001 album, I guess that's the beauty of hindsight. Like, you can see where you've been and you can improve on that going forward.
Absolutely. It's you know, it's an ongoing journey that never ends. There's, you know, sometimes you work on the level of detail, sometimes you work on the bigger structures, but it's always changing, and I guess that's one big part of explaining how we've been able to keep it exciting for ourselves for this long.
Yeah, cool. So I'm going to go on to the next question now. We're almost about a year and a half into the release of In Times. I'm sure that the band has started songwriting for the next release. Are you able to give us an update on that?
Yeah, there have been a lot of theoretical work on the new one. That's always where it starts. More like it's more like keeping an open mind musically and trying and not make any decisions, so to speak. It's a way of spending time not thinking about it is important. But obviously you are thinking about it when you're focusing on not doing that. But conceptually it comes first, and that started coming into place, I guess, around mid-year now. Mm-hmm. June, July, and normally writing starts directly after that. So quite a big chunk has been written already. I don't know if it's the beginning, the middle, or the end yet, but that means I would say the most of the skeleton for the album is going to be ready September, October, and the album is going to be finished pretty much by the time it's the holidays.
Okay, so have you guys, I guess, booked any sort of studio time yet, or do you have any sort of anticipated dates that you think you might enter the studio, or even a release date?
Not as far as release date. I'm pretty confident the album will be released before the end of next year, but I'm thinking next fall, winter. And studio-wise, we haven't booked it yet, but we have started asking questions what people are, if they're planning any holidays around early February. So okay. I guess that means that could happen then. Yeah,
cool. So going back to talking about upcoming music and that, I felt that In Times was a bit more aggressive than the predecessing albums, while still featuring those slow, beautiful parts that you guys are known for. You also brought in some more of your black metal roots into the album. Is this going to continue on the next record from what you've already started off with, or?
I think so. I think those two, that's pretty good descriptions of what could be described as like the polarities of what's driving the band right now. It's like the plus and the minus. I don't know which is which, but they definitely have to be there to sort of feed off each other to keep up that level of energy that we have now. But you know, there's so many variation within both those concepts, so it's impossible to say which way it's going to lean. If it's going to turn out, if it's going to draw from like the more melodic, subtle sort of sides of both those polarities, or if it's going to be a mix or whatever, I can't really tell. It's too early. But it's not something that I really want to make a decision on either.
Yep.
I can feel in the moment that, oh, it'd be great to make an album that's like this and that, but that kind of spoils a bit of the process for me. It's more like you just do it, and then you see what comes out. And there's all these little nudges and little influences that happens during also. You know, the way that when I've written something, I demo it and then give it to the to Gutler to listen to it for some feedback from him, and then he'll be in a certain state of mind, and that's going to influence the way he gives his feedback and so on. So it's really good to just leave it open, and then it can be fun afterwards to have this discussion, and we can say that I was hoping for it to come out like this and that, but it came out like that and so on. But during the process, it's good to be sort of a bit of present/absent kind of state of mind.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess you've already sort of touched on this with some of your previous answers, but what keeps the band going down its path of experimentation? I know that you guys obviously want to stay true to your fans and I guess work with the well-established roots that you have, but what keeps you sort of playing down that path of experimentation to try and find that sound that just says Enslaved through and through?
It's the influence, I guess, is exploration. Everything seems to have sort of its counterpart outside the band, or maybe it just means that there is no real outside. Everything's just like part of the whole the band experience. We're music, I would say, lovers, music collectors. Love going to concerts. Love checking out new material. In all kinds of weird directions, so many things going on. That's an influence, I guess, and the way that we relate to music and art and other expressions. So I guess our mission statement from the beginning was pretty easy. That we are, as a bunch of people that really enjoys specific kinds of music. But it feels like there's a hole in the record collection, and that's where all these great things that we listen to are combined, so to speak, into our own dream record or whatever. And that's what we try to achieve every time.
Okay.
And to make something that we really enjoy listening to and playing ourselves. So I guess it's a combination of everything that influences us, plus that weird element of something that's just our own.
Yeah.
A musical translation of who we are, in a sense.
Yeah.
And that's influenced by other music, I would say. So
okay.
I can't relate to people who claim to write music in the void. I guess that's possible. Music itself is an imitation of life. So as long as you're alive, you should be able to have some kind of musical ideas. But for us, it seems natural to add the influence of existing expressions also.
Okay. I think that's pretty fair with what you've said there. Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're trying to relate back to that experimental side of songwriting that most bands have, and it's a lot try to do and only some can do very well. So it's a good bit of insight for those that might be interested.
Cool.
You've got the Australian tour coming up, obviously. A couple of very few intimate dates that you're playing. What are you most excited about doing in Australia should you get some downtime?
Good question. Downtime was totally absent the last time. So I guess what we did was we had a quick look at the Bon Scott statue. Yep. That was fun. Got some photos there. And we'd just like to see more of whatever Australia is. It depends on who you're with at the time, the promoter or local friends, whatever. But that's what we like to do. If it can be seeing buildings, or it can be having food that's special for the area. Microbrewery, so it's a good representation of where you are and so on. Yep. So nothing in particular planned. There's obviously not enough time to do like the big things for the boys to go fishing and that kind of stuff. But it would be great to see more of those cities. Yeah. Like it felt weird last time we were in Sydney, We basically saw the club, and 3 blocks down was the hotel, and that kind of felt slightly cheated for that, you know. But I guess we're there to play, so touristing has to come second.
Yeah, and I guess the more and more that you keep coming back here, the more opportunities that you'll get to do those tourist things as well. So
exactly, but at the time when the day ends and there's time off, everything's dark anyway, so it's pretty much the inside of the pub.
Yeah.
But let's see. Somebody has a good idea to show us something. We're definitely open.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. If you want to show the boys around, then here's your opportunity. Get in touch with them. Finally, Ivar, is there anything that you want to say to the Australian fans before you head down here? Anything you want them to know? Any sort of energy you want them to bring to shows? This is your chance to let the fans know exactly what you want from them in this run of shows.
You can just do whatever they did last time, was pretty much showing up and being enthusiastic the Australian way. It's just perfect. It just brings the kind of energy that really makes us energetic and give the best back. The patience that people showed because of all those years trying to get down there and finally did. So I hope people who was there last time show up again, bring some new friends, and that people give it a chance. There's so many things to choose from today, but I would definitely say that Enslaved is a genuine piece of whatever we are, and should be given a chance to experience it live. Yeah. It's going to be worth it.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Well, that's all I had for you this evening, so thank you so much for your time, Ivar, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks when you're in Australia.
Thanks so much. Wonderful talking to you, man.
Take care. See you later.